Hi, I'm Caitlin and I'm a news anchor for Channel News 26. I'm excited to be here and share the news with you.
Starting first, what's on breaking news coming in on the India-Canada crisis just days after the Financial Times reported that India and ordered 41 Canadian diplomats to leave the country by October. They didn't know the situation has escalated with a first formal world from the Indian government. Monday, on that piece of information, the External Affairs Ministry has just commented and said that India has asked Canada to trim its diplomatic staff. And that is a continued interference in our internal affairs. India is raising the temperatures on this issue once again. This was triggered by Canada, and now India is once again repeated what it said on September the 21st to say that India seeks bad it. So you can go ahead and assume that there will be a reduction in the staff of the Canadian High Commission and consulates here in India. The number of diplomats needs to be the same that India enjoys in Canada right now. Canada is a far larger number, and therefore India has asked got it out. Remove at least 41 diplomat is what the Financial Times is reporting now. The External Affairs Ministry says we've sought 30, so you better assume that there will be a deduction us out in the buggy. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson. Insofar as discussions and parity, as we mentioned earlier, you wouldn't have much higher diplomatic presence of Canadian diplomats. Are you promoting Britons here in Canada and their continuing indifference in our internal affairs? We had and we have such parity, a respective diplomatic presence. Discussions ongoing on the modalities of achieving this Canadian diplomatic presence is very much higher. We would assume that they would be a reduction. Got to have some of these. With me been tracking the story closely, got to have continued interference in our internal affairs out in the buggy. Doesn't go into the specific numbers that were mentioned in that Financial Times report, but he doesn't deny it either. This appears to be by all respect a confirmation that India is basically audience foot down and said that it is a must and try and get it on. Needs to remove a certain number of diplomats to bring that buddy. Shiv, you're absolutely right. In fact, in his Foster conference also adding a buggy, the spokesperson for the Ministry of External of that said that in dad short pataki, not just in numbers but also in seniority, which means one same number of diplomats to equal seniority diplomats. So you don't. Canada has much larger numbers by some accounts, more than 3 times the number of diplomats that India has in Canada. Canada watches a larger number of the continent. It's in India. They have one apart from that High Commission international capital. That missions are in Mumbai and Chandigarh up a little, so one more. Or when it comes to India, we have our eye and at Audubon we have to other missions or consulate not in Vancouver and Toronto. India sought therapy. Does this indicates that cannot? Well, I don't have to shut down one considered or gym numbers and trim numbers drastically, and this is something that Canada does not want to do. But sure, that you already rightly pointed out the devotees into detail. What was the word though? The double knowledge you used by out in the buggy. He said got it as continuing interference in our internal affairs, and this is something that is not taking to very kindly. That the activities, the interference, or whether it was the farmers, were based on a number of other instances that India has documented in the past, and this has been taken up with it very seriously. Oh, why is that? Has some fall apart from the Canadians say to dial down up, brush up and tensions and talk about quiet diplomacy, but is that really possible after those is government of and up with that business and absorbed allegations leveled by Justin Trudeau on the floor of the House, or in Canada where he said there was a pause? India. Just some verbal communication according to Canadian media is that our diplomacy is under up between two countries, so this is something that India has begun very kindly to again shift. This is something where America also has been speaking in, and why that asking India to cooperate of the Canadian media too, reporting that America's asked in Canada to carry a free, fair and transparent investigation in this case for truthful come out of very clearly. Even the Five Eyes partners are edging the bets on because India will not big this lying down all these allegations, especially at a time when Canada's defending a terrorist. However, the generals and armed terrorists, and this is a known fact, it isn't into orbit gone nor orders against him. 2014-2016 India's repeatedly given boss used to Canada, and they have taken no actions. Have very clearly got it. I need to clean up. It's our first before coming here, and you don't virtually pontificating, which India's it will not do.